like, holy shit, I've got 3 pages of questions. So
How many of them are just why you like this?
none, maybe one,
Okay.
one of them. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Jayme Bean. You might know me from my very similar video where I spoke a bit about my debut novel, Untouched. I'm here again with Rory Michaelson, author of one of my favorite reads from last year, Lesser Known Monsters, which follows Oscar Tundale, a young man who is just about average on a good day, as he discovers that not only are monsters real and sometimes sexy, but that his world and others are ending and that he's maybe the one responsible. Rory's hilarious, riveting, and emotionally damaging sequel, The Bone Gate, comes out Friday, August 13th and is currently available for pre-order. If you're like me and love lesser-known monsters, I can guarantee that you will love the next installment of the trilogy. If you haven't had a chance to read Lesser-Known Monsters and would like a taste of what to expect in the Lesser-Known Monsters universe before diving in, check out The Little Book of Lesser-Known Monsters, a short story collection of unique creatures with heart, horror, and queerness set in the same world. All of Rory's information and accompanying links will be in the description below the video, so make sure to scroll down, like, and expand that little box for more information. Did I do that okay? Was I talking too fast, and could you hear my cat meowing like crazy in the background?
Did you hear my email thing go bing when you started?
I know, it's fine. It's fine. It just makes it sound like that was all, it's my go noise.
My only thing that I have to say is, first of all monsters are sexy. Always. Sometimes.
Fair. Yeah, tell us a bit without spoilers about what we can expect from The Bone Gate Lesser Known Monsters Book 2. And then I have Rory answers eloquently.
Yeah, that's a lie. I will never answer any of these questions eloquently. If you've read the first one, it's like that times, I wouldn't say 10, maybe 7.25. What can you expect from the second one? More monsters.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, more monsters that are lesser known, and also a bone gate.
I did also have Mario's question in there. Did the title The Bone Gate ever give you pause?
When you look at like dark fantasy books now, everything's like crowns of bones and shadows and dark and rain and fire.
2 hours later.
So I Googled things, trying to make sure there was nothing called the same thing as mine, but it just kind of turns out that there's a reason that I didn't realize, which is that it sounds a little bit like a dirty word.
Okay, and then the first question comes from the ever lovely Chris Durston, and he asks, out of all of the characters in the Lesser Known Monsters universe, which one do you think you're most like? Which do you think you're least like? Which would you like to hang out with? And why is Gax the answer to all of the above?
It probably depends how you know me. So I think if you know me quite well, you'd probably think I was stubborn like Zara. If you knew me when I was a teenager, you'd probably think that I was really shy and didn't know what to do with myself like Oscar. Most of the people that know me probably think I've got similar energy to Marcus. And if you don't really know me, then you probably think that I'm a bit aloof like Dimitri.
I like that. I know it's a good answer. All right. Now, Chris also brought up some general themes that I wanted to touch on because it kind of took what I was going to ask. And he commented about how he loved that because Lesser Known Monsters is about the world ending and therefore allows its characters to focus on that rather than having to deal with bigotry where even the evil characters don't get necessarily hateful in that way. And was that a deliberate choice on your end?
Yeah, I really wanted to make it a point that even the monsters didn't discriminate or misgender or treat people differently because of who they were. They treated everybody horribly equally.
The next question comes from Dalton Vallette, and he asks, what were some of the books, movies, or shows which inspired you in writing Lesser Known Monsters?
When I was growing up, it was always things like Charmed or Supernatural and Buffy and all of that kind of thing. And I think that probably shows because there's monsters and people being silly and chasing. I love things where people chase people. So anything like, like the films like Starship Troopers or like where it's not really scary, but it's a little bit gruesome as well. That kind of silly, fun stuff.
All right. Gideon Wood, who loudly shouted over Instagram, just talk about Zara. We want to hear about Zara.
What do you want me to say?
Whoever you want. That he was not specific in his demands.
Well, it's hard to talk about Zara without giving any spoilers, really. I like that Zara gets to be imperfect and gets to be a badass and gets to be cool, and also gets to be really petty. I'm into all those things.
Yeah, no, and it works great. I love she's one of my favorite characters, hands down. She's fantastic. All right, and then I really like this question from Ashley Shafley on Facebook. She asks, "What's the most surprising thing you found about the differences between writing a sequel and the first book of a series?"
When I wrote the first one, I planned a bit, not as much as I had trying to write things in the past, but I definitely had a really solid idea of where most of the story was going to go. The characters decided to do things that I didn't plan, which is what I think is really when things take their own direction, is when I know that I'm doing the right thing. And that happened a lot sooner in the sequel. And I think it was because the characters were more developed and they were more ready to take on the story away from me. And lots of things, like probably 80% of the book, it was really unplanned, like, and the characters just did what they wanted.
T. Van Cleef. Was Nina based on anyone? You made me go from feeling sorry for her to being terrified of her. Bravo.
I think anything where a kid has had something horrible happen, but then also is a little bit creepy, is always like going to be an easy play, because children are terrifying.
Yes, they are. Yeah, horrifying. Yeah, I keep waiting for the day that my kid like ends up standing at my bed in the middle of the night,
telling you that you're a ghost now.
Yeah. No, at that point, I mean, that kid's getting dropped off at like the nearest firehouse somewhere.
At the nearest haunted hospital.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just start Googling those and have them ready to go and be like, all right, you're getting on a plane. Yeah, good luck. Here's a church. Yeah. Ricky Cortman comes in with a slew of questions, the first of which, I saw your interview with Jayme Bean. I loved it. She's wonderful and so talented, a true gem. How did this long-distance friendship begin? And also, Ricky Cortman is my mother. No, I think, yeah, when we first started talking, I think it was mainly because I got your book and I just was like live messaging you, and each message I was like, I can't believe I'm going to message Rory again about this book, but it's so good and I need to keep updates on how much I love it. And yeah, I think at one point I just apologized flat out for sending you so many DMs about your book.
I don't think that's something that anyone ever has to apologize for.
Yeah.
Although now I've switched off my DMs, so
I know. I was like, yeah, you say that, and then yeah, no one can DM you.
That wasn't because people said nice things.
Do you listen to music when you write? And if you don't, and you would, what kind of music would you listen to?
What's it called? That like that cafe music.
Like elevator music, lo-fi music.
Yeah, lo-fi. Yeah. Like I like lo-fi. That's nice. Or songs that I know really well, that I've played like a million times, that I associate with the scenes. That's sometimes helpful too.
Which came first, the storyline or the characters?
The name of the book. And then because of that, it was almost like a prompt. And then I thought of what those monsters might be like. And then I thought of a character who could be inserted into that world that would make it interesting. And I suppose like effectively, it's not really a hero's journey story. It's more of like a fish out of water story. So it needed to be someone that was a good foil for that kind of world. And then we got poor useless little Oscar. Aww. And everything went from there.
What takeaways do you hope readers get from your book?
Determination and people sticking by each other and doing their best is probably one of the overarching themes. I like self-actualization. I like people growing into themselves, even if it's something that seems like a really small growth to other people, but is really significant for them.
So Anonymous asks, how does one know when to use a comma? And they also want to know, what is an adverb and how do you know how to use it properly?
Is it from Charlie?
No. No, although that would be hilarious.
I don't know how to use a comma. People say that you use it when you want to have a break in speaking, but I just keep talking. So when will I be doing it right now? So when would I put one in what I just said? I haven't got any space for a comma.
That's fair. It's all, yeah, it's I think it works.
Yeah, I think Charlie added like, well, you read it before it was edited.
Yeah.
Did you ever think, why is there no commas in this?
No, because you told me very specifically to ignore everything. So I put on my overriding mode and just I tried not to.
I don't know what a comma is for, really. I don't know what the dot's proper name is, and I don't know what an adverb is, but I'm guessing it's something extra to a verb. It's a bit more, but I'm not really sure what a verb is.
It's either a bit more or a bit less. It's fine. But adverb. So you would add more things to it.
So yeah, see, author.
Yeah, you got this. So Christopher asks, how much fun was it writing the second book now that the characters are well developed? And then he also asks, will we ever see a spin-off from the secondary characters?
The way that I plot is a little bit like I make a maze of rats, and then my characters are my rats, and then I put them into the maze, and now they climb over the walls and chew through them and do whatever they want. But I think the other problem is that when you do have characters develop, you're constantly asking yourself if that's what they would do, which then leads you to give them more control, and that doesn't always work out.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I can totally see that. And then will we ever see a spin-off? Are we going to get more shorts?
I was thinking about this. So there might be more shorts. I'm not sure. I'd really like a Zara spin-off, but I'm not the right person to write that, but I'd like to be involved. So I have to see how that goes in the future. So whether I meet anybody that can sort of do Zara's voice more justice than I would be able to. Yeah, I think I'd like to do more, but I also don't want to do too much more where people are kind of like, that's enough now.
Yeah.
We know them now. They're not lesser known.
I can't imagine anybody ever saying that about yourself. I could read about these characters forever.
We'll see.
All right. And then another question from a different anonymous asker. They said, lesser known monsters definitely had its sexy bits, but I wanted more. Will we get more in the second book? And if not, why and how dare you?
You can answer this question.
It's very sexy. The second one is definitely ramps it up. Ramps up.
Yeah.
First page?
First page, no, first sentence, and then.
So the next few are from me. Oh, and I have mine. I promise this isn't as salacious as it looks like it's going to be.
Read the music. Look.
Between reading Lesser Known Monsters and The Bone Gate, I've spent a lot of time on Google looking up each of the different folklore, cryptid, monsters, etc. That are mentioned. So my question is, what's your favorite monster that you've written, and which one did you find the most interesting to learn about?
That's a really hard question. I like finding places where there's similar stories about things, but they don't quite match, and they call them different things. And then you can imagine that it's just the same monster that's traveled. It's like been on under. Yeah. Whenever I introduce them, they tend to get more than one name because they've been alive for so many years that they've had different stories about them. I really like Jenny Greenteeth. I think that's a cool, really British story about like a river hag that drags children and old people in with sort of like tendrils of seaweed and drowns them to death, which is glorious. It's really sweet. But it's something that I got told when I was little is don't go near that or Jenny Greenteeth will get you. So that one always sticks in my head because what I think as a child, you'll get drowned to death by this river hag.
Yeah, no, I mean, it worked. I mean, I assume it worked. You're still here. You didn't get drowned to death by river hags, so.
Well,
or did you?
Did I? Or am I the river hag?
Whoa. I personally love your descriptions, speaking of all the different things like dragging you to death with seaweed. But one of my favorites was the initial introduction to Ed, the faithful doggo of the series, and also several of the monsters in the Bone Gate, which I can't talk about. But where do you get your ideas for how the different monsters and animals move and act?
I don't know. I think because once I've got a picture of how they look, there's very few that I've kind of invented completely myself. I think once I know what they look like, you can kind of imagine them being creepy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Just creeping around, doing their thing.
So, as you know, I really connected with Oscar in the first book. I not only love the idea of an inactive protagonist, but I love that you're upfront about it. You have your little entry in the beginning about how terribly average he is, and that kind of gives way to all these foibles he has in both everyday life and now in the greater sense of playing a key role in the fate of the world. I think it's really relatable and resonates with a lot of readers, but it's not just Oscar. You have Zara and Marcus, and they're certainly not superheroes either by the traditional sense. And I love that the whole cast is built with relatively normal characters. It comes off very naturally. So what made you go that route? And did you ever have to stop any of the characters from going rogue and acting all heroic?
I think that I wanted them all to have conflict and problems and to be selfish. Oscar is a super inactive character in a lot of ways, but I also think when I read that book now, I see that he chooses to do a lot of things. It's not like he doesn't choose anything. He's just he's quite reactive, and he's scared of everything. And I like a cowardly lion. Like he's still driving the story forward through the choices that he makes, but he's not getting to be cool about it. He's still a bit useless and makes mistakes, and I like it when he messes things up. I think it's far more interesting than things going well.
And that was it. That was the last question.
Oh, okay.
That's a wrap.
Bad.
No,
Did I talk for ages? Did I say too many things?
No, not at all. And I have a whole outro too, if you want it. Huge thank you to everyone that sent in questions. The response was wonderful. I hope that if you haven't read any of Rory's work, that you'll at least decide to look at all of their books after this. And like I said in the beginning, there will be links to Rory's website where you can buy the first 2 books in the Lesser Known Monster series, as well as the accompanying short story collection, The Little Book of Lesser Known Monsters. And then is there anything like you wanted to do as an outro sign off thing?
I've done really bad because I should have got my pre-order goodie things, shouldn't I? And then like waved them up. Wait, I might have them. Let me go and look.
Yeah, go get them. Yeah.
I'm ready.
Stop. Oh my God. You're just the worst. Dude, it's gonna be like 5 minutes of you just meowing.
So you should pre-order my book because you get things if you go to my website where you can have all of this exciting. If you buy it from Queer Lit in Manchester, if you live in the UK or in the EU, you get this beautiful bookmark that I made, or you can have all of these nice things from a prize draw. Look at everything, so many. And then I'm back to the start. I just keep going. Forever.
I've seen that notebook 3 times already. Yeah.